Welcome. We are so excited to have you here today. I am Rachel Brewer, Director of New Product Research here at USANA, and we are here for the Start on the Inside talk. This is one that I am very excited about because I love microbiome-related stuff, and that's what this is all about. So, how many of you also love your microbiome? I better hear everyone. So we have a lot of scientists here to talk with you about the microbiome and its relation to USANA products. First we have Chuck Walton. Chuck is a lead development scientist here at USANA. He has his master's degree in biology, and he has led several of the products that you're familiar with and love, including Fibergy Active and the Digestive Health Protein Drink. And Chuck leads the microbiome product research here at USANA. Thank you, Chuck. We also have Mark Brown, Executive Director of Laboratory Sciences here. Mark received his PhD in organic chemistry. He's been with USANA for more than 15 years, and he is the expert on the science with all of our products. Thank you, Mark. Dr. Karen Wolf received her medical degree from the University of Sydney. She also has a master's in counseling psychology. This experience has made her a sought-after speaker on health and wellness, and we are so excited and lucky to have her here today. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone. So Chuck and I are going to kind of do a tag team on this presentation, and we're going to start out with a little bit about what the microbiome is, and then dive into the human microbiome and the different ways to modulate it. So the microbiome is a community of microorganisms that exist in a particular environment. I just got back from a vacation in Oregon, and I got to spend some time in the rainforest. And I think the rainforest is a really good model of what the microbiome is. You have these beautiful trees and ferns and birds and fish and insects, and all these things just live together in this intertwined community. And that's much the same of what the microbiome is, except for it's just on a different scale. And instead of the trees and the birds, we have microorganisms like bacteria and fungi and viruses that are living in this environment that it's still interconnected and they depend on one another. So where do you find microbiomes? Well, there's the built microbiome, which, as the name suggests, exists in these buildings that we live and work in. So pretty much every surface you can think of, desktops, floors, windows, they all can house a microbiome, even the dust particles in the air. In the ocean, you see microbiomes as well. Chuck did his master's thesis on the coral microbiome and how it's related to coral diseases. And so I think if you see him in the hallway, chase him down and he'll tell you some more about that. There's the soil microbiome. I remember the first time I found out that a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs that we have came from the soil. And I thought, that's kind of bizarre. But when you think about it and understand that there are bacteria living in the soil, competing with each other for space, it's easy to see how some really powerful antibiotics might emerge from that kind of an environment. They've discovered bacteria in outer space. We took them there when we built the space stations, but they're now living there and surviving. So we even have microbiomes in space now. So basically every animal on the planet has a microbiome, including dogs and cats. And you're all here today to hear about the human microbiome, which Chuck's going to tell you more about.
So as Mark just talked about, microbiomes are this community of microorganisms that are found everywhere. But now let's talk a little bit about the human microbiome. And so what is the human microbiome? Well, this is the collection of microorganisms that actually live on and in us. And so some fun facts about the microbiome. How many of you actually knew that the average human body contains nearly 40 trillion microbial cells? This is almost the same number as human cells in your body. To me, that's quite a lot and pretty surprising. And all of these organisms are found all over our body. So there are different parts of the body. They host different communities of organisms, creating kind of unique body sites. For example, the organisms on our skin are much different from those in our gut, and the organisms in our mouth are even different from the gut. Not only are these organisms unique to the body sites, but each and every one of us has our own composition of microbes. You can think of this as your own microbial fingerprint. And now, while they're all different, they're also changing. And they're constantly changing within us and on us. And so, what are some of the things that influence these changes? Well, there are some things that we can control, or can't control, like our genetics and our mothers and our age. But there are also choices we can make that influence our microbiome. Some of these choices are things like how much we exercise, how much sleep we get, and even our diet. So let's take a look at a couple of these factors that influence our microbiome. First, let's look at how our microbiome changes with age. So here, the main thing I want you to notice is these pie charts above the different life stages or the different ages. And each color represents a different group of microorganisms. In the blue, that's a group known as bifidobacteria. And then in the red, that's basically all of the other microorganisms that are found in our guts. And what you can see is that in our early life stages, our guts are dominated by bifidobacteria. But as we age, the abundance and the types of these bifidobacteria actually decrease, and we see members of this other group starting to take over and dominate. Another example is looking at how diet influences our microbiome. So here, each color on the bars represent a different group of bacteria in the microbiome. And so we're looking at diet and specifically fiber. In the top left, we're looking at a low-fiber diet, and you can see that those bars are dominated by bacteria represented in the red color. But if you increase fiber intake and have a higher fiber diet, we see a more diverse color set here, which is indicative of a more diverse microbiome in our gut. Similarly, the types of fiber that we consume have an influence on the gut community. So in the bottom left, we see when consuming different types of plant fibers, you get a community that kind of selects for those represented by the green color. Whereas if you're consuming fruit fibers, you could get a community dominated by those represented in red. And so understanding how these changes can occur, why does that matter? Well, a lot of science and many studies have shown that the microbiome plays a key role in our health, affecting things like our gut health, nutrient metabolism, our skin health, oral health, and even our immune health. So if we can understand how these influences affect our microbiome, we can make decisions on how to support our microbiome.
How can we support our microbiome? First and foremost is a healthy diet, followed closely by exercise and sleep. These things will create a host environment that's most accepting for the microbes that we are looking to grow inside of us and on our skin. All of us don't have the perfect diet. We don't get enough sleep and exercise. So in that case, you should consider supplementation. And with the microbiome, there are basically 3 different ways to supplement. And we'll touch on each one of those in turn, and starting with probiotics. So the definition of a probiotic is live microorganisms, when administered in adequate amounts, confer a health benefit on the host. There's 2 key things to get from this definition. They have to be live microorganisms, and they need to be given in adequate amounts or dosages. Another important attribute of a probiotic is the strain of bacteria that is used. And you can think of strains as like breeds of a dog. So there's Chihuahuas, Dalmatians, Great Danes, all kinds of dogs. They look different and they have different capabilities. And the same is true with bacterial strains. They look way different and they do different things depending on the body site that they are in. USANA has two fantastic probiotic products, and I'm a little biased, but I would say these are the best probiotics on the market today. And they follow pretty much what we were just talking about. They are providing live strains that are targeted for a certain area of the body. In the probiotic case, this is the GI tract, and then the oral probiotic is in your mouth. The dosages are based on clinical trials, and if you would like to learn more about this, I encourage you to go to our Ask the Scientist website, and you'll find much more information not only on these products, but all of our products.
So Mark just talked about probiotics, and probiotics are live bacteria. But what about postbiotics? How many of you are familiar with postbiotics or have heard that term, postbiotics? It's becoming more and more prevalent, but it's often confusing for people. And so let's just start with the scientific definition. This is a postbiotic is a preparation of inanimate microorganisms and or their components that confer a health benefit on their host. So basically this means they're non-living microbial cells or the parts of cells that have a known benefit. And some examples of these are certain extracts like crude extracts, cell wall extracts, or even heat inactivated or heat-killed bacteria. Did you know that USANA has a postbiotic product? That's right. Our USANA our USANA whitening toothpaste has an inactivated form of Lactobacillus paracasei known as ADP1, and it's used in this formula because it is stable and it provides or helps maintain balanced microflora.
Now we'll move on to the third way that you can supplement your microbiome, and that was with a prebiotic. And again, the definition we'll start out with is a substrate that is selectively utilized by host microorganisms conferring a health benefit. So basically, we've been talking about bacteria, and this is the food for the bacteria. And bacteria like to subside on fiber, and there's many ways to get your fiber. We've heard about foods. Fruits and vegetables are probably the number one source. And workshop before us, you heard how most people don't get enough fiber in their diet, and so it's a really good idea to supplement your diet either with a designated dietary prebiotic supplement or with functional foods that have been fortified with prebiotics. So here's some examples of some prebiotic fibers, and since I'm a chemist, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about chemistry. And you can see on this slide that the fibers are made up of these cyclic structures. So you have 6-membered rings on there, and you have some 5-membered. Those are the hexoses and pentoses that make up fiber. And they can be connected in long chains to make up the fiber molecules. And sometimes they're just straight, sometimes they're bent, sometimes there's branch points. This gets pretty complex, but this is important because this is what determines what kind of beneficial microbes will thrive in a given situation. So we've studied this. We've initiated our own internal studies in the development of our prebiotic, Fiber G Active. Jason described this one a little bit more in the previous workshop as well. And it's a unique blend of fibers from FOS, inulin, resistant starch, 3 fruit fibers, and gum arabic. So Chuck is now going to spend the next few minutes describing the studies that we performed to come up with this unique blend, and also the studies that we did to prove to ourselves that this blend performs as a ideal prebiotic in human subjects.
So Mark just said, Fiber G Active has been well studied, and we put a lot of effort into developing this formula. But how did we do this? So first and foremost, we started with the scientific literature. From that, looking into different ingredients and their effects on the microbiome, we came up with several different ideas and started with 5 different blends of fiber ingredients and tested them in a simulator of the human GI system. So think of this as an entire human GI tract on a lab bench made out of beakers. Well, how does that work? So first, we have to start with the microbial community. That's established taking microbes from a human stool sample and growing them up in a beaker in the lab. That's then put into this beaker that is represented as the stomach. And then food, in this case, the different blends of fibers, were added individually to that beaker, along with stomach acids to simulate the digestion. Then, using a series of pumps, that liquid is transferred through the different beakers on the benchtop, simulating transit through the GI system, through the small intestine and the colon. From this, we were able to measure prebiotic activity of each of these different blends at different regions of the GI tract, or the simulated GI tract. With those results, we were able to take the top blend, go back to the lab, looking at some different ingredients and seeing how we could improve on that. From there, we selected new ingredients to add to that top blend and created new variations, and there were 4 of those that we then ran through the same simulator to measure prebiotic activity. And again, we selected that top performing blend, took it back to the lab, made a few variations, and you're all familiar, hopefully, with the fruit fibers that Jason talked about previously. Well, we added those to this top performing blend and then ran this through what we call the long-term simulator. This is essentially the exact same setup, but carried out over a series of days, so we can see also how these different measures change over time. We then followed that up with a human clinical study, and the results were actually just published in June. This human clinical study was conducted in partnership with the University of California, Davis, and the objective of the project was to test the effects of Fiber G Active on the human gut microbiome. And the setup of this was what's considered the gold standard. It was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover intervention carried out over 12 weeks. We enrolled 20 healthy subjects, ages 18 to 45, and they had a habitually low diet in fiber consumption. So what do we mean by a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover intervention? That's a lot to take in. Well, we'll break that down for you. So when we started with 20 participants, we split them into 2 different groups of 10. And during the first 4 weeks of the study, we'll call them Group A and Group B. Group A consumed Fiber G Active, while Group B consumed the placebo. After that 4-week period, they entered what we call a washout period. During this time, neither group consumed any fiber beyond what their typical diet was. And again, that was low in dietary fiber. Following this washout period, they then entered the crossover phase. And this is when they crossed over, so Group A now consumed the placebo, and Group B consumed Fiber G Active. This went on for 4 weeks, and at the end, they had completed the study. And so now, that's kind of the process that the participants went through, but how do we actually look at the gut microbiome and the microbial members of that community? Well, at different points during the study, participants provided a stool sample. From the sample, it houses the community that's representative of the gut system. And from that, we're able to extract the DNA of the microorganisms present through a series of reactions in the lab. Once we have that DNA, we can run it through a DNA sequencer to get the genetic makeup of the organisms present. And then using a series of computer algorithms in a process termed bioinformatics, we can match up those genetic sequences to tell us who's there and how many of them are there. And so what did we find? Well, I realized this is very busy and you can't read it, but the main takeaway is that when people consumed Fiber-G active, we saw an increase in members of the genus Bifidobacterium, as well as within 5 different species of Bifidobacteria. So this means that Fiber-G active has a bifidogenic effect. Why is that important? Well, as we talked about earlier, Bifidobacteria are pretty common in the gut, and Bifidobacteria is considered to be a beneficial bacteria because they do things like digesting fibers, producing short-chain fatty acids, and supporting gut health. They're also capable of synthesizing certain vitamins. And so one key takeaway from this study that I want you all to remember is that Fiber-G active has a bifidogenic effect, or it increases Bifidobacteria.
Okay. Well, we gave you a quick overview of the human microbiome and talked to you about 3 different ways that you can supplement that microbiome with probiotics, which are the live microbes, and postbiotics, which are the non-living fragments of live cells, and then finally prebiotics. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Karen Wolf, who's going to tell you a little bit more about how to use these products and other products to balance out your microbiome.
Just a quick note as we get started here, as Dr. Karen gets started, we do have a special surprise giveaway at the end of this talk, so make sure you stay and are paying attention.
Oh, surprise giveaway. Oh, okay, before I start, I want us to all give a huge round of applause to these amazing scientists. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so grateful. This is part of what makes USANA so unique and so special. And see all those scientists that walk across the stage yesterday? Amazing. So in the last, I see I've got 18 minutes here, countdown. My job is to take all of this amazing science and teach you how to share about the microbiome with your potential customers. Would you like that? Yes. Because the truth is the microbiome is actually part of every branch of medicine now. It is amazing. And USANA is on the cutting edge. So what I'm doing today is everything I'm going to say comes straight from your hub. And I teach my team about, in fact, I remember Colette Larson when I first started, and this next year will be 18 years for me in USANA. Yeah. Colette Larson told me that you just get the product catalog, is what we called it then, and learn 2 or 3 points about each product. You don't have to know everything about every product, but learn 2 or 3 points and memorize it. And yes, I memorize. That's how I got through medical school, is memorizing. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to take 4 areas or categories of the USANA product portfolio as they relate to the microbiome and talk about how USANA supports a healthy microbiome. So we're going to look at oral hygiene, at mood, sleep, and relaxation, because guess what? Stress has a huge impact on the microbiome, and digestive health and a healthy diet. And I'm going to go through different products, and everything I have up here comes straight from the hub, which means it is compliant. Yes, very important. And what else? Something else I was going to say. I was going to say something else and it slipped my mind. Okay, so first of all, oral care. About 700 species of bacteria reside in our mouth. Isn't that amazing? I always thought that dentists and dental hygienists have the opportunity to be the best preventive care specialists. So if you know any dental hygienists or dentists, they would be fabulous USANA associates / affiliates, just saying. So USANA has, first of all, the first product, and we've spoken about it, is the USANA whitening toothpaste. Now you've learned today about prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. This is unique that USANA as a company can teach us about this science. So the whitening toothpaste has this postbiotic. So what you might say is, so here's something I'd suggest, and I'm going to give you practical things. If you're on social media or you're texting, you could say, I was in this fabulous workshop about the microbiome, and I learned that the USANA whitening toothpaste has a postbiotic that attracts impurities for a deeper clean. You could actually say that. You could text that to someone. Text it to a friend just saying, wow, it's amazing that I'm learning all of these things. And it's fluoride-free. We know Dr. Wentz is very particular about that. And contains menthol for fresh breath, naturally derived ingredients, and no artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors. I challenge you to go to the store and look at the label of some of the toothpaste that you buy in a store and see what's in that. This one, no artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors. Okay, so as you heard, we do have 2 probiotics in USANA, and one is our oral probiotic. Who takes the oral probiotic? Oh my gosh, not enough hands. Okay, all right, so maybe that will change. So these have powerful probiotic strains for healthy teeth and gums, replenishes your microflora. Now I'm going to teach you how to use this. So the most important, you can use it for teens as well, teenagers, fresh breath teenagers. What a thought, right? So you do it, I keep it right by my bedside. So after you brush your teeth at night, you take a little tablet. It's dissolvable in the mouth. Just pop in your mouth, move it around your mouth 3 or 5 minutes. Just leave it there and go to sleep. That is your oral probiotic, 1 a day. So powerful, and a lot of people have talked about how fresh their breath feels the next morning. Okay, the second category, not surprising, is digestive health. So we've learned a lot about Fiber G Active, and I have to say, I've learned different ways to use it. I've always think of just putting it in the smoothie, but if you were in the session before this, then they gave us some good ideas, other ways to use Fiber G Active. You can put it in a non-carbonated drink of your choice. Tea, coffee, water. So it's fabulous to get creative about getting this since it's a prebiotic. So I have a little challenge for you. Remember I talked about memorize. So when you memorize something, what do? You think over and over and over it. And also, if you say it out loud, you're much more likely to remember it. So I have this first sentence up here. Fiber G Active feeds and sustains your gut microbiome. Doesn't that sound good? Feeds, let's all say that together. Ready? Okay, now I want you to write that down because I'm challenging you this afternoon. Now we're all in USANA, so we all support each other. I want you to go up to someone that maybe wasn't in a session or just someone that you don't know and you say, did you know Fiber G Active feeds and sustains your gut microbiome? And the more you say that, the more you will remember it. So again, this is a compliant statement. I know the thing I was going to tell you is all of these slides are available to you for 30 days after this convention. So we're here live, but we also have access to the virtual platform for 30 days because these are detailed slides that, of course, you might want to have to look at again. So just so you know, you've got the detail. And, of course, the prebiotic blend of soluble and insoluble fiber that you now know, because we just heard from the scientists, and no added sugars or artificial sweeteners. I really encourage you to use this Fiber G Active. I know I've been limited in my use, and I'm going to change that. It's one of the things I'm going to start something. Yes. Anybody else like me that thinks Fiber G Active was only just for smoothies? You've kind of been limited. I haven't been using it enough, yeah. If you're not convinced now of this amazing science that we just heard, it feeds your gut microbiome. So if we could add that once a day, to our diet, it's obviously going to help support our health. And then there's the protein drink. And again, if you weren't in the session before this, which I assume was streamed virtually, watch it. If you weren't in it, watch it. Because it was a great presentation on this protein drink. Another one that I haven't been using a lot. I've been focusing a lot on Nutrimeal. But this digestive health protein drink has digestive enzymes, which help break down, when we say macronutrients, we're talking about carbohydrates, fats, proteins, so that they're more absorbable to the body, no added sugar, and 10 grams of plant protein, and low glycemic. And so you could add this with spinach. They gave us some recipes and also told us that on the hub, under the media center, there are recipes for using this, because personally I think it has to be doctored up a little bit to taste good. Just saying. And so they had these great recipes. They had avocado, make it creamy. So go on the hub and look for those recipes to use this digestive health protein drink. And then, of course, it's our old faithful, the USANA probiotic. Gotta love this. You can travel with it. Yes. Remember the days when we had to put all our probiotics in the fridge? That made no sense, right? Because it's in the fridge and it's not with you. So the probiotic that I literally open the pack, I throw down the powder, chase it with some water, and it supports healthy digestion, modulates the body's natural immune response. So the link between probiotics and our immune system, very important message, and has all these colony-forming bacteria. So that along with the oral probiotic are two ways to get your probiotics. And then, of course, we have digestive enzymes. And I also have some people that get confused about the difference between digestive enzymes and probiotics. Completely different things. You've heard about probiotics, live bacteria. A way to think about digestive enzymes, as I said, was that they break down the macronutrients into digestible form. And when we can absorb food better, we can absorb nutrients better. So it supports normal digestion and macronutrient absorption and helps break down lactose if you have any issues with lactose. Love the digestive enzymes. And I always keep the digestive enzymes in a little pill packet in my purse so that when I'm out at a restaurant, I'll take 2 with a meal, especially if it's going to be a spicy meal that you're not quite sure about. Always have the digestive enzymes with you. And then, of course, it's a great way to share them. Like if you're at a restaurant, I remember I was at a Thai restaurant once, and you know how they say, oh, it's not spicy. I do that once, actually, nice story. I was with my husband Steve in Sydney at a Thai restaurant. And there were great hosts that took us to this great Thai restaurant. And, of course, the waiters all said, no, this food is not too spicy. Steve's there, he's like sweating. And I've got the digestive enzymes out, and literally I take 2 digestive enzymes if I'm thinking that I'm going to have issues with the food, or even if it's spicy. It's great to have them always with you in a little pill packet. Just a little tip. And then share it with other people at table. Great way. Okay, so one of my favorite topics is stress. So our mood and relaxation product line. Yay, a fairly new product line for us. So first of all, Pure Rest, the melatonin product. Now here's the line. Remember, this is all compliant. Promotes the body's natural sleep and wake cycles. Let's say that together. Ready? You got it. All right. Memorize. Sugar-free, dissolvable, sublingual under the tongue. Helps promote a healthy immune function. Again, we've been hearing a lot about melatonin in the last few years, have we not? So I love that we can say that. Helps to promote healthy immune function and support antioxidant defense. Now, I know it gets tricky. I'm sure I'm not the only one wondering, am I allowed to say that? I must say that nearly every day. Am I allowed to say that? And that's why when they asked me to speak today, I thought the best service I could be to you is to help you with what you can say and feel really confident in saying it and not second guess yourself. Even though this all came from the hub, it helps hopefully to break this down to 3 fast facts, I call it. With my team, that's what we call it. Fast or fast, F-A-S-T, facts about each product. And then it's a dissolvable tablet, sugar-free, of course. Love my Pure Rest. And then anyone bring Calm Response with them to this conference? What a great idea. I left my balm at home, my stick balm. Oh, I love that thing. Convenient stick. And it promotes a sense of well-being. Remember we're talking about stress, mood, promotes a sense of well-being. See, I'm not saying prevents stress or decreases stress, not saying that. And a unique blend of essential oils known for relaxing and calming effect. And that's a great way, and it's a great way to share too, because if you have that stick, you can just, with someone's permission, just roll it on their wrist here. Smell the lavender. Oh my gosh, that thing smells so good. I don't know why I forgot to bring that here. And then finally, stress relief, our ashwagandha product. It helps, and that's 2 a day, helps the body to adapt. Now here again, be careful with your words. Adapt to feelings of mild and occasional stress and nervousness, and supports your emotional and mental well-being. That's a good one. Supports your emotional and mental well-being. So it's so interesting. You probably haven't tied these products to the concept of the microbiome. But as you heard today, our whole lifestyle affects our microbiome, everything we do. So breaking it down in these categories hopefully is helpful to you. And then finally, of course, what we feed the microbiome makes a big difference. So a healthy diet, and for those of you that know me, know how I love to run my reset program. And so now what I'm using, just as a little update, is I'm using the 7-day Nutrimil-free active jumpstart kit. That's pretty much what I'm using now because, Nutrimil-free, the old one went away. And so the only way to get the Nutrimil-free, the gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, is in the 7-day kit. And what I do is I run the 5 days still, Monday to Friday as a group, and then they have extra product left over. So they could do 1 shake a day or 2 shakes a day. And it's kind of nice because instead of the 5 days like it's over, they've got some extra product. And you have, of course, the health pack, the 7 days of probiotics, and Metabolism Plus in your 7-day jumpstart kit. And this is a great way to help kickstart a holistic lifestyle. And if you do run a group, and maybe you've been running groups for a while and you want to keep it fresh, why don't you add some education around the microbiome? Like you could add some education, and from the hub they have great resources. Talk about oral care, the oral microbiome. Talk about the oral probiotic. Talk about the digestive enzyme, the other products that are not part of the kit, but it gives you a chance to talk about the microbiome in a whole new way. So I hope you know your homework, right? That you're going to go and talk to someone about feeding and sustaining a gut microbiome with which product? Yes. Okay, that person got it right. Okay, so thank you. It's been my pleasure, and I do believe we have a drawing. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Karen Wolf. Can we have one more round of applause? That was amazing. Memorization, taking that away. So thank you all for being here today. And this concludes our session on Start on the Inside on the microbiome. But as I mentioned, we do have a special giveaway here. This is something unique. In the research and development space, we are constantly innovating and coming up with new ideas and new products and new product concepts. Not all of these see the light of day. In fact, for every one product that launches, there's probably a dozen others that we've worked on and just didn't work for USANA for some reason. But sometimes we would like to get some feedback on some of these products that are under development. We call these our future lab products. They're things that are concepts, are not ready for launch, may never launch, but we think have some real value, and we would love to hear your thoughts on them. So to talk a little more about this, I'd like to invite up Kyle Millen, our marketing manager.
How's everybody doing? Yeah, you having fun? Well, like Rachel said, we have a really great team at USANA, and we're very lucky in the fact that our marketing team and our R&D team work really well together to develop products. The two of us together make a pretty good team when it comes to developing those. But we've got another member on the team, and that's you. Like Rachel said, with these products that we make, some of them turn out really great and fantastic. The science team says, there's some really good science. And our marketing team looks at it and we say, people are going to buy that. But then we also need somebody who says, yeah, I want to buy that. And that's you guys. So I'm going to need 6 volunteers. And so what we're going to do, I need everybody to pick a number between 1 and 10 and raise it real high up in the air. You're doing this so your neighbors can keep you accountable, because if you lie, I will know. So I'm going to count out a number here. And if you've got that number, I'm going to need the first 6 people to come to the side of the stage here to Sherry and Nathan. Back on down, back to your seats. I haven't called out a number yet. So, yep, same way, same. Careful though, nobody wants to get sued. All right, I'm thinking of a number. Number 6. If you have number 6 raised, go ahead and come here to the front of the stage. First 6 people. I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, I've got 4, I've got 5, I've got 6. That's too many. Only 6. I need only 6. I'm going to bring you up on stage here real quick. Just 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm sorry, yeah, we're cut off here. Oh, that's 7 though. I feel like somebody snuck up behind me. I've only got 6, so we're going to have you guys arm wrestle if you guys, that's what happens. All right, real quick, I'm going to ask you a question. If you get this question correct, you will get to be a special part of the USANA product development process. Ready? When was USANA founded?
When? Oh my goodness! I can tell you! 1992!
Oh my gosh, she did it with no help from anyone. Congratulations. You receive a free box of the Booster C shot that's available to purchase in the convention app.
Thank you.
All right, I've got one for you. Who founded USANA?
Oh my goodness, Dr. Myron Wentz.
She did it! Congratulations! For today's winner, you receive also a box of Booster C shots. All right, I'm going to give you a really tough one. Where is USANA's home office located?
Aquí, Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, that is correct! You are the lucky recipient of the Rev 3 booster shots that are also available to purchase through the convention app. All right, here's one for you. Who is your favorite USANA employee? I'll give you a hint. They're currently giving out free products.
Kale?
Yeah, she did it! You also received Rev 3 booster shots. All right, this is a big one for you. I got to think of one now.
Give me the hard one.
Who is the coolest USANA athlete?
Can I say it in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Diana?
I don't know who it is, but I believe it. They seem pretty cool. She also received a Booster C. And for you, I gotta think. Oh, okay, this is a tough one. We had to pull the audience to see. What is your favorite USANA product?
Oral probiotics.
The oral probiotic. Good job. So all of these shots, everybody raise them real high in the air. All of these are our Future Lab products that you can currently purchase in the store for convention. For these, both of them start with an apple juice concentrate base, so they're very sweet. And then we load them full of a whole bunch of essential nutrients and vitamins to help give you some extra boost for your vitamins, for your vitamin C for immunity, or for energy, focus, clarity, and metabolism with the Rev 3. So these are two great options. If you purchase these, you'll notice everybody look for the QR code on the side. Located right there. If you purchase these, scan these with your phone, and it will take you to a survey where we're going to ask you for your feedback on these products. That's really important to us in determining how we move forward with these products in market. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Everybody give them a round of applause.
Thank you all very much, and thank you to our speakers again.
He walks further down the street with the